This is the second lipid video for chapter 2 for the organic compounds. So we will talk about the phospholipids and glycolipids. So we already talked about the glycerides and the fatty acids, and now we're going to talk about phospholipids and glycolipids. So phospholipids, we also see the fatty acid chain. So you can see the fatty acid chains for both um, the phospholipids and the glycolipids. So the only difference is that in a phospholipid, you have a phosphate group as the head on the head. So you have the fatty acid chains that are in blue here, and then you can see a phosphate group, and so that's what makes it a phospholipid. So we have it, like we saw with the glycerides, we have fatty acid chains, you have the glycerol. The only difference now is that with a phospholipid, you have that phosphate group on the head end there. Glycolipids, similar situation, but we see carbohydrates, the sugars, attached to the glycerol head of that's at the head of the fatty acid chains. So those are the major structural differences between just the glycerides that we saw and phospholipids and glycolipids. Um, so phospholipids and glycolipids, they are going to become important as far as structural lipids are concerned. So we talked about the other lipids, so the fatty acids, the glycerides. Those are important energy sources in the body. Glycerides can also be, in addition to being used for energy, they can be used for insulation and physical protection. But then with the phospholipids and the glycolipids, those are primarily going to be involved in cellular structure. Okay, so they're very important structures that we see in the cell, specifically in the cell membrane. So they help maintain intracellular and extracellular membranes, so both membranes within the cell and then the membrane outside of the cell that is what makes up the cell. Um, so they're very important for those. And when we get to the chapter on the cell, we talk about the structure of the cell membrane. We will talk about phospholipids and glycolipids in much more detail there. One other thing I do want to mention, and I'll bring this back up when we get to chapter 3, but the phosphate group, so that phospholipid head is going to be hydrophilic, it likes water, whereas the fatty acid tails, like we saw in the glycerides, the fatty acids tails do not like water, so they are hydrophobic. Okay, so phosphate head, hydrophilic, fatty acid tails are hydrophobic. Okay, and here is just another image that shows you a phospholipid versus a glycolipid. So the phospholipid, you have the two fatty acid chains, phosphate group, glycolipids, you have the fatty acid chains, and then a carbohydrate on the end. Okay. All right, moving on. Now we are to the steroids. So steroids are a type of lipid. And an example of a steroid is cholesterol. We also have, and cholesterol will actually be the component that makes up steroid hormones. Okay, so they become important, or cholesterol becomes important uh, as far as those steroid hormones are concerned. And cholesterol is also important in the structure of the cell membrane. And we'll talk more about that when we talk about the cell membrane. And we also see cholesterol in digestive secretions found in bile. And that becomes important in the digestion of fats. So when we get to the digestive system and anatomy and physiology too, we will see why that's important. Or we'll talk more about that at that point. So with steroids, as far as the structure of a steroid is, it contains these rings, and you can see uh, these carbon rings for that make up the backbone of the steroid, and that's actually typical for the steroids. So up to this point, when we talked about the glycerides, we talked about the phospholipids, the glycolipids, fatty acids, they had the fatty acid chains. The carbon backbone was in a chain. We do not see that with the steroids. We see these carbon rings, okay? So they're very large molecules and they have carbon rings. And as far as what differentiates, so here in this image you have cholesterol and then you have some steroid hormones, estrogen and testosterone. And the difference is going to be in the functional groups that are attached to that carbon ring backbone. Okay. Um, I already talked about importance of cholesterol. We see cholesterol in the structure of the cell membrane. We also see it secreted in bile. It is also needed for just regular cell growth and cellular division. And then sex hormones, so these are steroid-based hormones, they are important. So the examples here are estrogen and testosterone, and these hormones are very important for um, regular functioning of the human body. Specifically, these two are going to be involved in sexual functioning. Okay, so for example, testosterone is needed in order for sperm to be produced. Estrogen is needed in order for the egg in the female to mature like it should. So those hormones are going to be very important for normal sexual functioning in humans. Okay, then moving on. So this is another example of a lipid that we see. These are eicosanoids. They are derived from an acid, arachidonic acid, and which is a fatty acid that must be absorbed in the diet because we cannot synthesize it. So we have to actually absorb it in our diet. Um, so examples of eicosanoids are leukotrienes and prostaglandins. And these are extremely important. In AMP2, when we talk about the inflammatory response, we talk about immune response, we will talk more about the eicosanoids, but they become very important as far as protection of the body is concerned. You can see the leukotrienes are produced by cells in response to cellular injury, and so that they're going to be very important in a normal inflammatory response. Um, Prostaglandins, they are secreted by cells. It's sort of like a communication between cells. So the prostaglandins will help coordinate local cellular activity. So it's sort of like a communication between cells. Um, let's see, we also see prostaglandins when there is tissue or cellular damage. And these prostaglandins will actually produce a sensation of pain that will prevent you from damaging the tissue any further. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I want to say about eicosanoids. Okay, and that will end the section on lipids for chapter 2, and I'll pick up with proteins in the next video.